Welcome back to Must Love Books podcast. Today, I am here with debut author Lenora Woods with her brand new novel, Roll for Romance, which is out this week.
Great. Sounds amazing. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so excited to have you on here. Roll for Romance looks so cute and adorable. I mean, the art prints that you've shared are gorgeous. We have a little bit of fantasy intertwined with the real world. And, I'm just going to let you tell our listeners about it because I'm too excited.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess the short pitch I have that I give people for Roll for Romance is that it's just two first-time D&D players who fall in love both in game and out. So they're playing D&D for the first time, and at the table they're falling in love person to person in real life, but we also have these fantasy interludes spread throughout the book where their characters are falling in love at the same time. And we're kind of exploring where those lines blur and where maybe we're acting it out for the characters, but we're trying to explore that IRL as well and kind of take it beyond that. So that's my short pitch, but I can also dive into the longer pitch.
Yeah, let's dive in.
Yeah, so the idea is we have our main character, Sadie Brooks, who has just been laid off from what she thought was her dream job in New York City. So she's feeling very down. Where we start the story with her being very upset about losing her job, and her best friend, who moved to Texas a few years ago, is like, "Hey, why don't you come stay with me for the summer? Take some time off, figure out next steps, and you can also join my D&D game. I promise I will distract you with a wonderful, rollicking adventure full of other players who have also never played before. So it's no pressure, no stakes. We're just going to have a fun summer and you can figure out what's next." Sadie decides to play this human cleric character who worships the goddess of luck because Sadie's feeling very down on her luck and she wants to feel a little braver with her character Jay Lee. Through the game and at the D&D table, she meets Noah, who is also new to this little Texas town. He is a bartender at a new brewery that just opened up, and he plays a very loud, flirtatious, charismatic elven bard. And Sadie is very charmed by him, both her character Jaylee and Sadie as a person. And so they start to grow closer kind of as the summer goes on. What we eventually come to is Sadie has to decide if her dreams are still in New York or if she has new adventures that she wants to pursue in Texas with Noah and with her friends. She has no choice but to roll the dice.
Roll the dice, quite literally.
Literally, yes, a lot of dice rolling happens in this book. Spoiler.
So I feel like your inspirations are going to be pretty obvious just from what we know of the story so far. But I would love to talk about some of your writing inspirations for Roll for Romance.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think simply put, I guess I've played D&D for 7, 8 years now. I've actually played with the same group about that time. So we have done many campaigns together, but they were also the people I played with for the very first time. And I have just always wanted to read a book that kind of explored what it's like to play at the D&D table. And there are lots of D&D books coming out that I've really enjoyed, like Dating and Dragons. I thought was so much fun. Highly recommend that one. But I really was curious to write a book that explored kind of what happens when you're role playing as well. A lot of times, like at the table, like there's almost a blurring of lines, or there's maybe things that you are exploring as a player through your character that maybe you're not brave enough or you're not there to explore by yourself. When Sadie kind of is able to embody Jay Lee, she's a little bit more braver, she's flirtier, she'll kind of speak her mind a little bit more because she's able to take away kind of the pressure of it a little bit. So I was always really fascinated with that kind of dynamic and wanted to explore it. And then I guess also on a more personal level of like writing inspirations, when I started writing this book, I was experiencing burnout from the work that I was doing. And it really helped me to read stories of other people who had experienced that. And I just remember the way that I leaned on my community and kind of the people close with me when I was experiencing it. And I thought that exploring the two at the same time was something that I thought that exploring the two at the time would be something that felt relatable to me and also would just be a lot of fun.
What I love about the blending of IRL and fantasy is it really offers a little bit of something for different types of readers, which, it's a really versatile novel. If you like fantasy, you're going to love this. If you like nerd culture, you're going to love this. If you like contemporary romance, there's stuff for you here too. I love when we have a little bit of a genre blending or a subgenre blending.
Me too. I have always loved books that explore that. And honestly, this is my debut novel, as y'all know, and I really couldn't pick one. I think I could have written a book about maybe just playing D&D or maybe just a fantasy adventure, because both contemporary romance and fantasy and all the things between really have my heart. But I think this was something where I could really indulge in both and also kind of get to track some of the themes that are present in both and kind of find some of the similarities in what we can explore between both of the genres.
Absolutely. And now you are a bit of a gamer outside of writing, so you are very familiar with playing D&D. I am a D&D player myself, so we definitely have to go into that.
Yes, absolutely. Let's just talk D&D.
There we go.
Just
Yep, the
kidding.
rest will be we're actually just gonna we should just run our own game is what we should do.
Yeah, plot twist. This is a one shot. Are you ready? We're gonna create characters right now.
That's something I really actually truly want to do on this podcast is run like a one-shot D&D game with my book club, none of whom have ever played before. So the Something Smutty Book Club. We should have you on and you should lead that with us.
I would love that. I don't DM normally, but I definitely do one shots. They're my favorite. I'm happy to do that. So I would love to. That sounds like so much fun. Oh my goodness.
I think a one shot is all these Smutty Book Club girlies could really handle
Yeah.
for the most part. So, like a one time thing, like, let's do this. Let's go.
Yes, please let me know. We will find a smutty book club themed one shot. I will write one and we will have the best time. That sounds great.
There we go. And there you have it, listeners. Stay tuned for the Something Smutty D&D sesh featuring our new favorite nerdy author, Lenora Woods. And here we are. Let's go.
Here we are. Yeah. So you usually play?
So we do a family game
Wow.
with my folks hop in sometimes, my sibling DMs, and I even let my kids play with us as well. I have played here and there with friends, but we are terrible at, meeting up and actually doing anything. That it really just we do a lot more planning than we do actually seeing each other. And I feel like that's a pretty common relatable issue with gaming. So currently, I am actually working on, I haven't really DM'd much myself, but I've got all the books and everything, and I'm just putting together some one shots to try out with the family. But are you familiar with the Gamers movies?
I don't think so,
Okay.
but sounds like I should be.
Okay, little bit of background, and then I'll continue with the story because it is related. So there are these indie movies called The Gamers, and the first one I think started off as like a college project, and then
Whoa.
it kind of moved on to being, a little more built up. And so the first one I saw was actually the second movie, but it was called Gamers Darkness Rising.
Wow.
And yeah, it's so, so funny. I love it so much. I've seen it probably a million times. But essentially, we have a D&D group, and they keep trying to play this campaign that the DM is writing. He's writing his own that he wants to publish for other players. So he's testing it out with his group, and they keep failing miserably. So they bring in a new gamer because they are running out of people to play with them, because they have a reputation. And they bring in a new gamer to join them, and it is their first time gaming with a woman gamer, which, leads to some funny shenanigans. And they're all like, you
Hmm.
should wear bikini mail. And she's like, no, immediately no. And it's just a really cute, fun indie movie that is all about them working through this campaign together. And it goes back and forth between IRL and their fantasy world as well, which reminds me, of course, of your novel.
Mhm.
But from this movie, they actually did publish the game that you can play. So
Whoa.
so that is my DMing experience, is playing through that with my family, which was super cute. So they are playing their own version of a Pathfinder adventure, not necessarily D&D. So they use the Pathfinder system, and it is called The Mask of Death.
That sounds so familiar. I played a Pathfinder game that I turned into a D&D game as my first campaign DM experience. Terrible. Don't recommend for anyone trying to DM for the first time, trying to translate one game system into another. But that sounds really cool. I'll have
There's
to
a
check
lot.
it out.
Yeah,
Um,
so if you like D&D or any sort of tabletop gaming, I definitely recommend checking out the Gamers movies. They are done by, it's a collaboration between Zombie Orpheus Entertainment and Dead Gentleman Productions, and they're just super fun. There's a few movies. They also have a couple different like series that focuses on the game world, not the IRL. So they have their fantasy series as well as the gaming movies, and it's just a lot of fun.
I am so excited. These are my plans for the night, honestly. I love media and stories about people who play games and the games that they play and the stories they tell together. So that sounds fantastic. I can't wait.
It's a lot of fun. We'll definitely have to do a game or something for the podcast.
I would love that. I've written two different one shots. One is fae themed, and the other one is like a you attend a theater performance and shenanigans happen and ensue. But even then, I would love to write one for y'all and play it together. I think that could be so much fun.
I love that. I wrote
Yeah.
one that it was just a one shot where you and your group come upon an abandoned cart of goods where that has been pillaged, and
Hmm.
it is covering a secret hole in the ground, and you fall in the hole and things happen.
That's such a good setup for a one shot. I feel like that hook's got to be there immediately for one shot specifically, just because my group and I, we tend to play long, so it's got to be like you've got to jump right in. I really enjoy that. That sounds kind of like Alice in Wonderland a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just with monsters that want to, kill you, but then you get treasure.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I mean, you weigh the. Sounds great. I'm in.
yep, it's a good time. It's a good time.
Mhm.
So, when you play D&D, what kind of characters do you play?
I love specifically, I really like tieflings, which I'm sure says a lot. People will probably know about me just from me saying that I really like tieflings, and I really like spellcasters primarily. My first ever character that I went through a whole campaign with was a tiefling bard, and I love him very much. We took that campaign from 1 to 20. So that just experienced all of that. Cleric, though, is actually my favorite class to play. And that's part of the reason that Jay Lee is a cleric in Roll for Romance. I think it's a really fun class to explore. I think it's really versatile because you can be, a very nunnery kind of cleric, or you can be a cleric of death and blood. And I haven't played that kind, but I respect everyone who does. But there's just a lot of ways to spin it, and I think the spells are really fun. Right now I'm playing a human fighter, which is incredibly unlike me. I usually am a tiefling and elf kind of girly, but I wanted to challenge myself by playing a human fighter. What about you? What kind of classes and characters do you like to play?
So, my first experience with role playing was actually through a video game, through Neverwinter Nights 2. And my first character was a tiefling. Uh, what was she? A tiefling rogue, I believe she was. So
Nice.
that's what I started with, which was super fun. And on my second playthrough, I went a barbarian fighter.
Nice.
And ever since then, like, I just had so much fun running around and just beating up everything that I often generally play some sort of fighter,
Hmm.
occasionally a ranger, but usually a fighter because I just want to, like, jump in with a sword and
Yes.
beat stuff up.
Absolutely. And there's no better class for it. You just, fighters don't quit. They like, you always feel good. Like, even if your dice don't go the way that you want them to, I feel like fighters are still like, you just hit again. You can just go again. Whereas if you're playing a spellcaster and the spell fails and that's your whole turn, and then it's just like, what am I good for? But a
Right?
fighter, very effective, so much fun. I can't believe I waited so long to play one. They're so cool.
I used to, back in my World of Warcraft days,
I played a
I,
lot of WoW.
yes, everyone in our group always wanted me to play some kind of healer,
Hmm.
which, I mean, I hated so much. That was the absolute worst gaming experience ever.
Oh
Why? And
no.
I was the only girl in the game with this whole group of dudes. They're like, "Oh, well, you have to be a healer." Like I wasn't
I
given a choice. It was you have to be the healer because we're the tanks. We're gonna fight, and it's your job to, keep us going. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to
yeah.
pay attention to your health and take care of you guys. I'm going to run in and go get myself offed immediately so that y'all are screwed.
Yes. Yeah, I hate that. I hate the stereotype that's like, "Oh, well, you're the girl playing with us. You're going to play the healer or you're going to play the support." Granted, Jaylee is it does happen to be the healer, but for the record, let the record show that I don't like that stereotype. I think that's unfair and unkind. But yeah, WoW was actually how I started writing. I will say that was the first
Really?
time role playing on WoW was the first time that I ever wrote.
All right, we
Um,
have to get into that.
yeah, I played that video game and I saw there were people who would walk around the cities and pretend to be their characters, like their avatar characters, and I was like, what are they doing? This was like middle school for me, and I was like, what are these people doing slow walking around the city and kind of dressed up and pretending to be their character? And then I was like, I'm just gonna try it for fun, and got really, really into it. So collaborative storytelling with World of Warcraft, with D&D. I did a lot of that before I ever wrote my book, honestly. So writing alone was actually a big transition for me after that. Did you ever do any role play on WoW? Or
I didn't on WoW, but I used to do the role play chat boards on Neopets.
yes, amazing.
Back in, middle school, there was a Avatar The Last Airbender, and, there was a couple Harry Potter ones, and, younger me, that was my jam.
It's yeah, I did Neopets. I got stuck in a curse and got scared and I think never logged on. But I those role-playing chat boards, yeah, I think I did a few for some book fandoms and stuff. That was a formative time.
It
So
really was, like, that built me.
same. Yeah, any of my books, I mean that I've got that to thank for getting me into writing. So here
I do occasionally still log on to Neopets and just, like, hop on and just, like, feed my starving pets who I've neglected for months or years and then won't see again for months or years again. And just, hop on, play a couple games.
yeah, I've done the same with WoW a few times, and it's the same where it's kind of fun just to look at the landscape and revisit my old characters, but a lot of the community and friends I made on the game don't really play anymore, which is we've just kind of moved on. And so it'll usually be just like a nostalgic weekend, and then I will move on to a different game.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah.
also had this game I used to play, and I played this one after WoW, and I played it longer than WoW, and that was Rift.
I heard about Rift. I didn't play it, but it looked beautiful from
It
like
wa
all of
it
the
was really beautiful, like, it was very well done, and I was in, a huge guild on that one. I had a couple different
Mhm.
characters with, I had a spellcaster, I had my fighter, and it was just fun to play around on that. And I actually, over the pandemic, hopped back on again, re-downloaded it, hopped back on to check out my character. And at that point, no one had been active in the guild for years.
Oh my goodness.
So I just went and like during COVID, I had like a good solid month where I just like I was regularly playing again. And I went into
Mhm.
our guild vault. And since no one had been active, I took everything.
Oh my God, well, that
I
makes
w- I wiped out that vault. I'm like, someday someone's gonna pop back on and be like, I missed this game. Let's go check things out. Let's see what's in the vault. And there's nothing. It's
You were the
empty.
last one standing. It was owed to you. I support this. I think that was the right decision. That's so funny. Oh my gosh. Well, I have to ask on the topic of video games and D&D, have you played Baldur's Gate, the
I've
new
not
Baldur's Gate?
played Baldur's Gate 3 yet. I keep getting begged and begged and begged to play it, and I really do need to get on and play it. I've intentionally not gotten it yet because I know that once I do, I'm going to be sucked in.
I finished, I don't remember exactly what it was. I don't know if it was edits or something like that, but I knew in my heart I had to finish edits before I started this game. But I use it, I try to recommend it to people. Like, I'm like, oh, you like Baldur's Gate, you might like Roll for Romance because there are some different connections there. A lot of people have told me they think that the main character on the cover, Noah, looks a lot like Gale from Baldur's Gate, which has surprised me a lot, but I am flattered nonetheless. But definitely it's a game to be played when you have a lot of free time and you're looking for like the most intense distraction. But it's great. Cried a lot, laughed a lot, had a wonderful time with it.
Yeah, I am planning to get Baldur's Gate 3 after I finish writing my novel, which I've talked about on the podcast a little bit here and there. I have a paranormal romance I've been working on, and I'm actually on a break right now, but I'm going to get back into it and get it finished up. And I think once I start querying or return to querying, I should say, queried a little bit and then had new ideas and completely rewrote a large chunk of the book. But once
Mhm.
I get back into querying, I think then I'll allow myself Baldur's Gate 3 as like a reward.
That is exactly what you should do. I think Baldur's Gate, I think querying is, as all writers know, just a tough time. It's just you want something to deeply distract you during that time. And I think also just as a reward for like a job well done and finishing a whole dang novel, I think it's perfect. I believe strongly in finding a reward when you're writing something, like something at the end of the tunnel. Mine, I think Baldur's Gate was one of mine for the edits, and then commissioning character art was a huge reward for me as well. That was something I was like, okay, when I'm done writing it, I'll get some fan art made. When I'm done with this next stage, if I am able to sign with someone or get a book deal, more character art. So I think having those rewards have been a big part of my writing process and definitely recommend. That sounds like a great plan.
Speaking of character art, your art prints are so gorgeous. For Roll for Romance, I love you have this one that has your characters in their game characters, just in a kind of romance book cover pose,
Mhm.
and it is just gorgeous. It's beautiful.
Thank you so much. I adore all of the art that I've gotten. If there's a place to post the artists or share with the podcast, I would love to shout out the artists just because I've
Oh
worked
yeah.
all of the artists I've worked with are so wonderful. I definitely wanted to work with different artists to try and capture like the magic of both the IRL romance and the fantasy romance. And we had a pre-order campaign where if you pre-ordered the book, you could get a free art print from one of the artists. Lena did one where Sadie and Noah, their characters are kind of, I think it's the one you're referring to, where they're kind of cradling each other during a very big turning point of the book. And I'm very glad we get to share that pre-order with readers.
I love that. And I love how so many authors are celebrating their pre-orders with gifts like art prints. And, I've seen some do like special editions with your pre-orders or like bonus chapters with your pre-orders and bookmarks and prints. And I just love it so much. I want to see more of that.
I agree. I've really enjoyed as a reader being able to support the authors I love. And my gosh, my pre-order gets me like this cool bookmark, or I get to read this scene from this guy's point of view. It makes me so happy. And I think it's also, if you're commissioning art or other ways, I think it's a really fun way just to elevate other artists and other creators that you really admire and really appreciate for supporting you. So I've really enjoyed being able to do that as well with it.
And let me tell you, and for any authors listening, if you include art prints with your pre-order, I'm going to get it. No matter what. Like, that is what sucks me in. If you offer an art print, I'm buying your book. Even if it's outside my genre, like, I'm still buying it.
I operate the same way. I have a whole cork board where I'm just like, great, these are all the little treats I've gotten from all of the pre-orders that I get to do. I have a cup full of different bookmarks that has like character art on them, and it's great. I knew from the second that was one of my dreams, even before I got the book deal, that I was like, yes, this is something I would really like to do. So yes, absolutely agree with you. Recommend to all authors to share that art because everyone wants it.
We do. I can confirm. So let's talk a little bit about your publishing journey and your writing mentorship program that you were a part of.
Yes, I would love to do that. So, Roll for Romance, when I finished writing it, I did not really know what to do with it. I loved it and I was proud that I had created it, but my writing community at the time was really small. I didn't really know other writers and I was really eager to connect with other writers and get mentorship from other writers as well. And I found, I think it was through social media, that there's a mentorship program called Smooch Pit, which I highly recommend if you're looking to go the traditional publishing route. Smooch Pit will connect mentees with agented mentors who can kind of speak to the querying process and what that looks like and get you prepared for what the next step is. And I said, that sounds like me. I do want to try traditional publishing. So I applied and I was able to be paired with, as a mentee, with my wonderful mentor, Audrey Goldberg Ruoff. She has her debut is coming out in September of this year. It's called Hopelessly T-Voted. I've read it. It's lovely and amazing. It's spooky, it's witchy, it's so much fun. Highly recommend. It was wonderful working with her, and I was able to work with her, I believe, through October until Valentine's Day. Smooch Pit has this thing where they have what's called an agency showcase, where all of the mentees who participated in the program get to come to this showcase where they each have their pitches lined out for their book, and agents are invited to virtually attend the showcase and reach out if they want to read more. So it's a good networking opportunity for agents and new authors, but it's also just, for me, I really, really valued connecting with other authors and getting my first taste of what community felt like. A lot of these writers I connected with, I'm friends with now, and we get to kind of support each other in our different writing journeys. And that's been so valuable to me that I actually, the year after, I became a mentor and I volunteered to mentor the next year. And my mentee, Kayla Hill, she recently got agented. She has a beautiful book about violin magic. It's this lush fantasy world. And I got to work with her and get her ready for querying. And it's just a wonderful experience. I am talking so much about it because I love it so much and I recommend. I will say it is a romance only, any subgenre. Kayla wrote fantasy. Audrey writes spooky, witchy rom-coms. I have my genre mashup of fantasy and contemporary. Any romance author interested in the traditional path of publishing, I would definitely recommend that you check out applying to Smooch Pit. And
The Smooch Pit mentorship program, which is for all unagented romance authors, the applications are open from September 9th through September 16th. And you can go to smoochpit.com to find their mentorship application guidelines if you're interested in applying.
yes, thank you. I highly recommend. It's so much fun. I don't know whether or not I will be mentoring again this year. It really just depends on the time, but I can guarantee that the mentors that will be there are all wonderful and incredible. And it's just such a great way to connect to a writing community, but also just learn a lot. I think traditional publishing can be a very vague, shrouded path that is hard to determine when you're new to it, what you're supposed to do or what it looks like or anything like that. So definitely recommend applying if you're interested.
I love that. Well, thank you for sharing that with us.
Of course, of course. Yeah.
This was super fun, and I think that we could talk forever, and I'd love to like do something with gaming with you on the podcast.
Yeah, I think that would be so much fun. I really enjoyed it. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Lenora, I just want to thank you so much for joining me on Muscle Books podcast today. And I want to congratulate you on your debut with Roll for Romance, which is out everywhere this week. And big congratulations.
Thank you so much. I had the best time and I really enjoyed talking games and books and everything with you. And I am just so thankful to be able to celebrate my debut in this way. So thank you so much. It's been wonderful.
It really has been. And for our listeners, you can connect with Lenora or for myself if you want to talk about some gaming on the podcast, see if we want to kind of expand a little bit about what we offer here on the show. I'm totally interested in what my listeners have to say and what you're interested in. And I also just want to have more fun with this. So I'm definitely open to doing some gaming projects in the future.
Awesome. Sounds great. Just to mention, if you really enjoy Roll for Romance and you're looking for some other gaming books out there, I do want to mention Single Player, one of my favorite books of this year. It has D&D in it, but it's also the book is more focused on two video game writers who are one of them really enjoys writing romance for video games and the other one believes romance does not have a place in video games. So if you listened to this podcast or you read my book and you were like, D&D is great, but I'm really more into Baldur's Gate or video games, highly recommend you check out Taratai's Single Player.
Yeah, that's a great shout out. I love it.
I just love that book so much. They're going to be doing my launch event with me. I'm very excited.
Ooh, that's exciting.
Yeah, it'll be great.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love collab launch parties. That's super fun.
As you could probably tell, love talking to people. I think it is just the best sort of thing to have like conversations, because then it just flows and then it's more fun for everyone. If it were me, I would just stare into the audience and just not know what to do. So, yeah.
Excellent. So thank you again, Lenora, for joining me. This has been super fun. And thank you everyone for listening to Muslove Books Podcast.
Thank you.